Hey everybody, ABC 10 meteorologist Brenden Mincheff here with an extended forecast because unfortunately, even after 3 days of cooler temperatures, it is summertime, right? We are warming up once again for a couple days heading into the weekend and then certainly for a few days after the weekend. So those ABC 10 weather impact headlines, obviously warmer temperatures are ahead, especially for early next week. But it is still going to be a warm end to this week. We'll be back into those hundreds for Thursday, and then for Friday, we're going to see temperatures near and above 105 for many valley locations. This weekend is going to be interesting because temperatures actually are going to drop into those 90s for both Saturday and Sunday, it does look like, but it may be just slightly humid. And by East Coast standards, I'm not talking humid like East Coast standards. I'm not talking humid like Hawaii, nothing tropical like that. But because we're going to get some southern flow, not going to see a lot of moisture out of it, but there'll just be a little bit of that extra humidity in the air. And because it's so dry here, basically year round, we notice when we have extra humidity, and you'll likely notice that, especially in the morning hours, Saturday and Sunday. And then we've got that early week heat returning. There's going to be some warm mornings with lows back in the 70s, if not warmer, and then afternoons once again at and above 105 for a few days in a row. So let's look back at the calendar before we kind of look forward. Basically, since June 23rd, we've had almost every day in the triple digits. There's just been a few days that we haven't made it there. Really, June 24th, June 27th, June 29th didn't hit the triple digits. July 9th, we were 98 degrees, so still warm. But I mean, when you look back at the 113, the 106 we had that weekend, that 98 degrees on Tuesday felt cool. And then this week so far has been really nice. 93 Monday, 91 on Tuesday. That's several degrees below average, in fact. And then for Wednesday, 96 degrees was our high temperature. So we've had, like I said at the top of the video, a nice kind of 3-day stretch without really a lot of heat there. It's been warm, but not really hot. But that all changes heading into the weekend and beyond. Now, this heat has also dried us out quite a bit as well. So if we look at the drought monitor, I'm not saying that we've got widespread drought, but it is just something interesting to note is that we are seeing the return of abnormally dry conditions in the state, and also some really just kind of small expansion of the D1 moderate drought. So technically, only 1.62% of the state of California is in drought. There is 20% of the state that is abnormally dry. The D0 is not actually drought, just the yellow color abnormally dry. And then the base map gray means, obviously, none of that area is in drought, and that would be over 75% of the state not in drought. But the drought severity and coverage index on a scale up to 500, 0 to 500, it is at 23, the highest that it's been since mid-August. And if we look back a year ago, this was July 18th, 2023, July 18th, 2024, there is more improvement this year. Like, we're in a better spot this July than we were last July, even though both of these maps are good. Certainly by California standards, they're both great for the summertime. Interestingly, this area of drought and abnormally dry conditions in the Southern California desert last summer, that persisted. Even when the rest of the drought really lifted across the state, this area persisted until we saw the effects of Hurricane and then Tropical Storm Hillary come through Southern California last year. That wiped out the drought down there, and that really has remained drought-free to this date, with a very little exception right along the Colorado River there, where we do have some D0 abnormally dry conditions. But again, we are starting to see the state dry out. We know that. That makes sense. It doesn't rain in the summertime here. It gets hot. We dry up. We dry out. But because we've been so hot, we are starting to see conditions just, shifting a little bit, ticking up a little bit. We'll just call it that. All right, back to the temperatures now, because that's the real story here. Yesterday, this is for Wednesday, like we talked about, 96 downtown, 91 Sacramento Executive, 93 Stockton, 93 Modesto. And I show that because it just means that you're going to notice that temperatures are warming up. These are the temperatures we've got for Thursday: 101 Sacramento, 102 in Elk Grove, 101 Stockton, 102 Modesto, 98 Jackson, 93 Placerville, and 80s up in the high country. This is kind of day one of this new warming trend that we are going to see. Going through the weekend, 105 degrees on Friday, so even warmer for the last day of the work week heading into the weekend. But then, like I said, we are going to lose temperature a little bit for Saturday and Sunday. Highs in those mid to upper 90s both days, warm, and also especially in the mornings. I think Saturday, Sunday do look to be somewhat humid, just a little bit sticky. So again, that is not the real heat wave. The real heat wave arrives early next week when we have this extended stretch of 105s. But before I get any further, you've seen a lot of the ABC 10 weather impact. What is weather impact? What does this branding mean? It just focuses on the weather that impacts you, right? So rather than just talk about this big picture weather story, we're really trying to highlight the thing that you need to know, the thing that's really, if you step outside, the thing that's really going to impact you. That's why it's called weather impact, because we are focusing on the impacts here. Now, we are going to have these alert days. We had a lot of them with the previous heat wave when we were near 110 for much of about 2 weeks. These alert days prepare you for the dangerous weather. So when we look at the 10 days and you see the red on the 10-day forecast, you know something's happening here that I really need to be aware of. Now, this could be heat like what we've had. It could be fire weather. It could be wind, especially once we get into the fall months. And then when we get into the winter time, it could be colder than normal temperatures. It could be rain in the forecast, could be snow in the Sierra, could be blizzard, frost in the valley, could be dense fog in the mornings, anything like that. Again, that's going to impact you. That is the point of the weather impact branding. So as we talk about heat and we talk about this impact, here's why. This high pressure system continues to build in. Look at this. We're going to have this high pressure ridge building all the way in to the Canadian prairies of Saskatchewan and Alberta as well. British Columbia going to be seeing some of this heat. We're going to have another heat wave in the Pacific Northwest as well, as this high pressure just really doesn't go anywhere into next week. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as this high pressure scoots just a little bit further south and west, and it sits really right over California, this is what's going to bring us our hottest days Monday through Wednesday. But then that high pressure moves across the central part of the United States. Again, you can see that ridge extending all the way up into Canada. But then we finally get a little bit of a break on the west coast. Temperatures likely to drop back into those middle 90s towards the end of the 10-day forecast period. So to recap, heat starts to build in for the end of the work week, headed into the weekend. We lose a little bit of temperature Saturday and Sunday. That heat risk drops back into the minor to moderate category. But then for Monday and Tuesday, we're not going to see a lot of delta breeze. We're going to see some of that major heat risk, especially in the low to middle elevations, pockets of extreme heat risk in the mid elevations as well, as it's not really going to cool off at night. Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night, where we're going to see low temperatures likely near 80 degrees across much of the foothills, similar to what we saw with the previous heat wave. But the good news is it does not last as long as the previous heat wave. It's just 3, maybe 4 days, as opposed to literally 2 weeks of this type of heat. So Thursday, 101 degrees. Warmer on Friday, 105. Notice low temperatures starting, this was Friday night into Saturday morning. So starting Saturday morning near 70 degrees. Losing some temperatures Saturday, Sunday. Are going to be in those 90s, a little sticky in the mornings with that humidity. That's about all the impacts for the weekend. Should be a fairly nice weekend. But then look at this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning, we're going to see those really hot temperatures return. 103, 105, 102. Some model data suggesting could be a little warmer than this. I'm going to go with kind of what seems to be the average amongst the models. But certainly, I think especially Tuesday, wouldn't surprise me if we're a little closer to 108, 109 across much of the valley. And that's why we've got those weather impact alerts. Also want to point out the morning low temperatures. Near 70, near 70, near 70. So again, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, all look to be very warm. Monday morning could be fairly warm as well. Not going to see a lot of delta breeze. That's why we've got those weather impact alert days there. But look what happens near the end of the 10-day period. That high pressure moves out like we talked about. Temperatures drop back into those 90s. We could even see some lower 90s, not for this coming weekend, but for the following weekend. So again, this is not looking to be a 2-week-long heat wave like we had last time. Thankfully, my goodness, that was really some unbearable heat, but we still have impactful weather in the forecast. Thank you for watching, and always remember, you can get more forecasts like these on the ABC 10 Plus app. We've got these in-depth forecasts, explainers, weather specials, including our Emmy-winning weather special, The Future of California's Water. If you haven't seen that, highly recommend you give that a watch. Thanks for watching. Stay with ABC 10 for the very latest on this upcoming heat wave.